Over the last 6 days, we've been working on the same application using two different toolkits. In this video, we're going to be finding out which of these APKs built out of KivyMD and Flutter is performing better. There are multiple things that you're going to check out in this video. First thing, starting with Jank issues. Which is the Jank issue? What is the Jank issue? And how is it performing better in KivyMD or in Flutter? Second thing we're going to check is the memory utilization, which is using more memory. Is it Flutter application or is it the KivyMD application? Third is going to be the CPU utilization. Finally, we're going to check out the .apk size, which is having more size, and my final thoughts after that. This video is going to be morely about the two applications that we built. So in case you haven't seen those videos, I highly recommend you guys to go check that out. Let's get this video started, because for the first one, I'm going to be using the Flutter application that we have built. Using the Android Studio, we already have a very good profiler. So in this, if you see this application that we built, and all you need to do is just run your profiler right here and automatically start your application. As you saw, we did actually connect my real device, which is an OnePlus 3 in this example, to my system. So it's actually having a physical ADB connection. Post that, what we also are going to do is enable the USB developer mode, so that once you have the developer option created, the rendering and things like that can be profiled easily here. So let me open the application right here. We will check out few things. Alright, so the application is right here. It's running on my device. I'm using Visor to screencast it. So if you see, as soon as it started rendering, you see a couple of things right here. So this is actually the Jank or the frame that has been rendered. So let's start entering the data to see actually what happens, right? It's bar 1, 2, 3, 4. Full by code. Oh, password is wrong. Alright, so if you guys are new to this entire application, we built a bank application with a login screen, home screen, and a money transfer page. Highly recommend you guys to watch the first 6 videos. If you're not very interested to know about the code itself, just maybe watch those videos to understand a very high level of what we did build. So the Flutter application I'm starting with primarily because it has an inbuilt, Flutter itself has its inbuilt profiler tool connected to the Android Studio. So it's easy for me to show you guys what is happening right up. So if you see here, it is actually giving out a lot of red frames here, which means that there is no activity happening. So once you open this application, I'm hoping that you guys can see the application now rendering the home page, and the home page has a very simple card. And as I move this card right and left, you do find that the application is actually the frames are actually moving on the screen. It's a very good thing. There is no red being present, meaning that there is no frame that's being skipped. So as I scroll right and left, you do find that it's actually having a very smooth scroll, nothing majorly affecting my Jank issue. So that's a very good thing, right? The application is doing very well. Now let's open the final transfer page where we are going to enter some data. Let me enter the 512 and re-enter the account number IoT 512, and the data number is going to be $900. All right, I'm okay to transfer the money. It's being sent, and all of this is actually going to be hitting my server running on my local host. So what you find is that there are approximately 20 to 30 frames that are trying to be rendered per second, and that's the reason why this is happening. All right, let's go back to find what else we need. Now I'm going to be opening up my the entire thing into the Alright, to show you guys much clearly, I'm opening the DevTools right in my browser. It actually opens up the DevTools. You can do that by clicking the Open DevTools right here. Alright, so let's see even more in-depth information as to what exactly is happening. Let's see even in-depth information as to what exactly is happening. I'll keep it right here and bring my this one right here. Hopefully you guys can see it clearly and pretty much useful. All right, so as I scroll to the right and left, you do find that the this thing does work. I mean, you do not find any of the Jank, meaning if you see here it says Jank or slow frame, right? There's only one Jank or slow frame, and if it's not that visually, I'm not able to see it that clearly also. Like I cannot, like, to be honest, there is nothing that I can physically see that's being missed. All right, let's refresh and make sure that's processing real time. And I want to show you guys about the memory utilization also as part of this. Now let's go to the performance. This is the performance that we had so far. Let's now go to the memory to see what exactly is the memory that it's using. I want to now just check out the maximum allocation, right? I want to just see what is the maximum memory that it's utilizing. I'll go back and I'll enter IoT 512, do the same thing again. Money to be transferred is 900 again. Okay, there's enough money in my bank, and it's actually going to show it for me. Right, go to the, you can see that the memory, it's actually showing you a real-time graph of what is, or real-time timeline of what is going to be the memory that's being used. If you want to have a much detailed information, you do find that it's about 25.6 like about 25.6 MB of memory is being used by the entire application, and we don't have to worry about it. So let's start recording the CPU profiling. Right, so I'm going to start working on it. I'll just enter bar 1 2 3 4 coder. All right, it went inside, and I'm trying to do the swipe right, swipe left, and swipe right again, swipe left again, to make sure that it's actually able to do it. And finally the transfer page. I don't want to transfer so much money because it might throw an error at the end, which I don't want to have, because the server is also running real time here. I'll just transfer maybe 50 bucks, right? Like, let's transfer 50 bucks. All right, now let's stop this to figure out what is the CPU that has got used. It's going to take some time to profile it, and so far we have seen Jank issues very minimal. Even though the Flutter dev tool is able to catch it, it's not very visually seen. And I do understand that a lot of bigger applications do have Jank issues. You can definitely open your profiler and check what is really causing it. 99% of the time, it's the main thread that is being doing too much task, and it's causing that. All right, so if you see here, the bottom up, or the entire memory utilization for the CPU is being shown. Let's find out, if just to get a full picture, right? We want to know what is the maximum CPU that was used. I'm not myself any pro at reading the chart or anything of that sort. It has very little information, if you ask me. Like, how do you understand what was the load on the CPU or the processor in this example? The OnePlus 3 uses a Snapdragon processor, so we cannot really ascertain like how exactly or how much of pressure that this application is putting on. But there is a way. What you can do is go to your settings, probably from here, and you can go to your apps and notification. You can open your Flutter Banco, and you can understand what was the data usage, what was the storage, what was the memory that we used. This is going to give you like a very, I would say, a decent understanding of what was the memory that was used and things like that. And you can see the maximum usage is up to about, I'm not sure if you guys see, it's around 356 MB, and that's the maximum it was used. And we don't have to know more about it, because these two applications are not going to make any much more sense here. So that's pretty much how you can understand it. Compared to your CPU right here, it takes about 3-4 seconds to load that's the amount of pressure that it's putting on the CPU. And compared to the RAM that is being used, about 15 MB, that's the memory that's used. Its maximum usage is about 356 MB. Cool, we'll keep it at that stage, and this is the information that I also wanted. Let's go and check few other things as well. The storage is actually, what is the storage? It has a storage of about 32.78 MB, so it does store that much of size, which is going to the app size here, and the final size is going to be 33.39, including the cached data as well. All right, that's a couple of information that we have right now. And what you also wanted to check is the data usage. It says no data used because everything is locally getting from here. And it's now time to check out our KivyMD application, because I've got a lot of things to show that as well. And so far the Flutter is actually having a decent Jank, no to decent Jank issue. So I would say I'll rate that about 8 out of 10, followed by the memory and CPU being really good. So this is something that you can expect from a mobile application. Time to check out our KivyMD application. Let me take that application out, and we will see out or figure out what is really happening. All right, so I have the application right here, which is going to be what you're going to find out. It's going to be the Janko. Let's go inside. Mirroring disconnected. All right, I think it's doing something. All right, so the application is loaded, and it's actually definitely loaded much faster. Two things which I want to add right here. First thing is that I did make some changes to the application itself to generate a profile. Now if you see here, the application is this is the application that we have right now, and I added something called as a C profile, which is going to be used to generate a profile for our application. What this does generate is the performance profile only. There is no way to really ascertain or find out what is the memory that's being used. I'll come to that part later. So first thing I wanted to show was the C profile, like what is the profile that was used, or what is the memory or the performance that is taking for the entire application to load. Using that, I did create a variable on the on start and on stop, and we finally dumped it as a my app.profile, which is actually present here. I'm going to be showing that and how to read that as well. But for now, let's run the application to really see or find out if there is anything that we want to comment on. So this is going to be the home page, and I'm going to be commenting on the UI and what was possible towards the end. But this is the home page, right? Let's see the feel of it now. The first thing that you're going to enter is the username, obviously, bar1234, and followed by this here, coder monk. All right, let's get in. So the application is starting right now, and a couple of quick points here is that for Flutter, we already have a bunch of different widgets that you can pull in and put in, and it is really easy to create. Not the same for Kivy, was my understanding. It wasn't easy to create something that I wanted to. Everything had to be physically set up, and I had to create and add properties for every single one of the widgets. So it was kind of difficult. So this is what was possible at the end of 3 days. And as you can scroll, you can find that it does scroll smoothly. There is nothing I'm able to find in terms of jank or anything of that sort. It does scroll smoothly, but I have seen few issues with longer list views and things like that, same as Flutter. Now this is going to be the home screen. Final screen is going to be the money transfer page, where you're going to change or enter money. Let's enter for the same person again. I don't have anything against that person. 70 bucks is what I'm maximum I'm going to enter. I just added something called the Swift code here, which I didn't add for the Flutter application because this Swift code was not doing anything in Kivy application itself. All right, so a couple of points again here. As you can see that the layouts are completely different with respect to Flutter and with respect to the Kivy application. The layouts for this one was a simple the grid layout, one below the other. I just want to assign or align them vertically, but somehow this is kind of overlapping. I could not fix it at all, and it was the end of the third day. I didn't want to fix anything more, so I just wanted to leave it at that to give or get yourself to understand how you can do it. All right, now confirm. And this is maximum that was going to happen. Money 70, I should have added rupees, successfully transferred, and this is basically it. This is the feel of the application. There is no possible to go back. There's no possible to go to the back button and things like that. And if I do this, I think yeah, it's not going to crash anyway. So this was supposed to be the back button, but I could not do it, and pretty much that's the entire application. So I'm going to close it up, and I'm going to just now give a simple comment on that. You did see that application itself, and now comparing it to the Flutter application that you will see right now, there's been a huge sea of changes in the look of it and the feel of it. The first thing I want to comment on is why does it take so much amount of time to create a KivyMD application? The first reason is that there isn't much widget that is available. Second is also there isn't much of the community support. I would say that there isn't much of input from the community also. Now KivyMD, again, I understand it's also going to be a difficult one to create, but with respect to the Flutter, you do find that there's a very cool widgets, easy to create, plug-in, basically plug and play kind of a widget, right? Just create the widget, put it inside your main app, and you're done. You have a very good, beautiful scaffold present, and that's not possible with respect to the Kivy. So in terms of the prototyping, if you want to do a faster prototyping, I'm very much aligning towards Flutter, because you want to create something that has a good look and feel to it. I don't want as application that is going to be taking so much amount of time to just create a card or list view and show that to the user. I want to have something that is easy to plug and play. So that's why I'm saying that Flutter is going to be my prototyping toolkit for now. So meaning that if you want to do something faster, right, you want to do a faster prototyping, it's definitely going to be winning this space right now. Does it do well on memory? Does it do well on CPU? We'll find out right now. Right, so as I told you guys at the start of this video, I built my application with the C profile and created a my app profile dump, and using something called as a snake quiz, which is again an open source kind of a tool which comes as part of pip. I did pip install snake quiz, and I could now say my app profile, and it will automatically open the entire profile in my browser. So I will show the browser right now to you guys, and this is how exactly it looks like. Now what is the use of this, and what you can understand from this is up to you to understand. So what it does say is that every base pi or from the first touch app, whatever is being used, it just shows the time it takes to load. Now we'll do a quick comparison of that with respect to the Flutter application, which you already saw. You can very well see that the base pi application is loading much more faster compared to the Flutter, and it's taking approximately, if you do the entire addition, it's taking not more than 1 second or 1.5 second to do the entire performance, and it's starting the application in that amount of time. And I was really impressed with how fast it was to load, and you can even find internally like how fast it is actually trying to pull the things. I was actually surprised as well, because I was expecting that the Python is going to take much more time compared to Dart because of the native support that Google is trying to give on an Android. But even then, the application is loading much more faster. At this point of time, it looks like the Kivy application does load faster, but there is no comment on if there is application that is going to be loading hundreds and hundreds of data, does it load faster then. One more comment which I also want to add is that all of these applications that you see right now is actually have been opened multiple amount of time. If I do a cache clear and start, the application does take quite a lot of time to load everything for the first time and then start. And there is no Jank issue that you see after that. So I would say that the first load for the Kivy does take some time, but once it loads, it's much more faster compared to Flutter itself. Alright, now is the difficult process that you want to do. You need to check what is going to be the memory that this application is using. So there is no direct way to profile a memory as far as I saw for this application. Alright, here's the application. Go to the settings, go to your apps, and it'll open this one, which is what I want to show. And you can go down and you can find the storage. So the storage is storing a whopping 137 MB of data, which is actually very higher compared to the Flutter application. So it's 55.46 MB, which is going to be the Jank 0.1. This is, as you can see, is the Flutter logo present. Sorry, this is the Kivy logo present. So this is the Kivy application. It is having an app size of 55.46, very huge, and a total of 137 MB, which is much more than I was anticipating. Go back and you open your Banco Janko. This is going to be the Flutter application. You see, it's almost 1/3. Basically, it's actually very 1/5 of the size of this one. So this one is having a whopping size of 137. That was 33 MB, 1/5 almost, right? So that's pretty much what I was actually wanted to show. Now let's go back to the memory, and the memory utilization way less. It's running at a 2.4 MB memory only, and the maximum usage is 159. Compare that to the Flutter application that we built for the same app, same properties. It is running at a average memory of 14 MB, which is 7 times greater, I would say 6 times greater than what was running right here. So if you see here, it's running at 14 MB, and my the KivyMD application running at 2.4 MB. So even though the size of the storage is because it is actually doing a lot of cache load, it has to pull in all the Kivy applications, all the Kivy things, and load it inside your physical device. And then once it starts caching, it's running at a very faster and loads very less memory as well. Amazing thing that I wanted to point out. So that's pretty much the comparison that I have at this point of time. Alright, so the Flutter application on the left side took a storage space or the memory space of about 33.39 MB, including the cache. And if you see the RAM or the memory usage, it came about 13 to 14 MB on average at a maximum of 355 MB. So this was up to the application that was running on my physical device. Comparing that to the CPU, it took about 3 to 4 seconds for the entire loading, and also did little bit of heavy work on the main thread for the CPU. Now compare that to the KivyMD application. We saw that the KivyMD application took a whopping size, or it took a majority of the size for just storing its own binaries. It took about a size of 137 MB for storage space, even though the app size came about 55.46. Lot of memory went into the caching. Now finally, coming to the memory, it was very interesting to see that the memory was very less compared to that of the Flutter. It took about 2.4 MB on average for the entire application to load, and also a maximum of 159 MB, about 1/6 of that of the Flutter. Now to the CPU, we did did find that the CPU took about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds. That was going to be the loading time, even though the first loading took about 6 seconds when it was actually loading for the first time, because the reason being it is caching all the Kivy related binaries, Kivy related files, and then only starting the application. But once the caching is done, it does load faster. So this is how the application and differences are looking at this point of time, and I'm going to be giving you my suggestions, my thoughts, and my final results of what is going to be better. Is it Flutter or Kivy? Let's find out. Alright, so is it going to be Flutter or is it going to be Kivy? If you ask me my final thoughts, I would highly say that if you're looking for something that you want to do faster prototyping with, if you want to build something faster, you have only 5 to 6 days to show a working application, definitely go for Flutter. The reason being that is because I found out that it was easy to program, it was easy to create, and I also had a very good feedback mechanism using the hot reload that was running on my real device itself. Compared to that to Kivy, you had to put some extra effort into it to make sure that it was running properly. It is also making sure that you don't have a much good reloading system or a hot reload system on a physical device or even an emulator. So you have to rely on an application that is actually like a desktop application, and then hoping that it converts back to a proper scaling for your mobile device. So that was kind of in the back of my mind, thinking like how easy is it going to be for building an Android application. So that's my thought on it. If you want to do something for faster prototyping, just go for Flutter. Don't worry about memory, don't worry about CPU and anything of that sort. Now, if you have some extra time in your hand, if you have about 2 to 3 weeks of time and you want to build something that is actually low on your phone, puts low pressure on your CPU, and also has low memory, the answer is going to be Kivy. Now, KivyMD is definitely a strong alternative for Flutter. That's what I figured out. Even though, like I said in the starting of this video, that it took some time for for me to build a Kivy application, even though I did cut it close to the final deadline, the application did come out really good. I mean, it's not like it came out crappy. The app came out pretty good, and it also has very low storage on the application in terms of the memory utilization. Even the storage is bigger, it uses about 137 MB of cached, including cached storage. You can definitely cut it down by removing all the Kivy examples or the unwanted libraries that you want to bundle it with and things like that, and you can definitely cut it out. Even though both of these applications do not have much difference in the APK size, the application for Kivy is going to definitely be winning in terms of the memory utilization and the CPU utilization. So this is my final result. If you think Flutter is going to be the winner, it's because the application was a faster prototyping toolkit. Definitely, for sure, 3 days I could build the entire thing. The Kivy, on the other hand, did take some time, but it came out as much better performing application in the end. I don't really know why the application for the Kivy took almost 1/6 of its memory compared to the Flutter. If you have any ideas or suggestions or even thoughts on that, put that down in the comment section below. So that's my final thoughts on this entire application and this entire application challenge. It was really a great experience for me to build and write code for 7 straight days and put it out in YouTube. And hopefully you guys did find it useful. And that's pretty much what I'm going to end this video with. If you guys found it useful, do not forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and definitely hit the bell notification icon. Whenever we release a new video, you will definitely be able to see that. I'll meet you guys in something very useful in upcoming series. If you have any suggestions, you can definitely let me know. I'll meet you guys there. Until then, it's Bharat. Peace out. Have a super awesome day.